Well, generosity has always been a huge part of my life. Ever since I was young, I saw my parents giving, and that was just kind of ingrained into me, seeing the importance of giving, especially to the kingdom of God and furthering that. And when I was a teenager in youth group, probably still in junior high, I remember going and raising money for a missionary and for missions, for Speed the Light actually. And in junior high, I just really felt like God wanted me to raise a certain amount of money. I think it was like $500, and for me in junior high that was a lot. But I remember working and babysitting and all of these different things to raise money for these missionaries who needed it, and raising that money in time for that project. And that just really put that into me even more, and I just loved giving, and I've always loved giving since then, and I would always give whenever I could. And that's just kind of continued on, and tithing has always been a part of my life since I was young, and I've seen my parents tithe and my leaders tithe, and being able to see how God even responds to that and has always provided for them and for myself just by giving and tithing. And it's been neat to see that, and especially being here at New Life and seeing the generosity of the people who have invested into my life, and the congregation and the staff has been amazing, and my giving has continued. And as I'm getting ready here to leave for Chicago, there have been a lot of times where I have freaked out about money and not knowing where it's going to come from or how God is going to provide. Can be a scary place to be. But I've decided that I need to trust that God will keep his promises and do what he says. And just this last Sunday, I was at New Life Church in Bismarck with Pastor and Julie, and Pastor talked quite a bit about offering when offering time came around, and I had some cash that I was giving for offering, and I decided kind of last minute that, you know what, okay, I had like, I don't know, $15. Like, okay, I'll give 10 in the offering here, and it doesn't seem like a lot because it really wasn't to me at the time because I only had 15, but I gave 10 in the offering and thought, okay. And then as the day went on, and I was still thinking about my upcoming trip to Chicago and thinking, okay, God, I really don't have that much money saved up. You're gonna have to do something. But I've been thinking that for a while. But it's neat to see what God does. So it was maybe 2 hours later, when church was over, the kids had been dismissed, I came back to get into the van. A couple from the church had come up to me, and I was saying goodbye to people, and they handed me an envelope and say, you know, this is for you, we're really gonna miss you, and we know that God is gonna use you. And as I was leaving, we left, and I opened the envelope when we were in the van and we were driving away, and I was thinking, okay, this would be really cool if this was like $100. That would be awesome. But maybe it would be more. Maybe it'd be like $200. And so I was hopeful about that. But so I opened the check, and when I opened it, and I thought I read it wrong at first, but then I read it and I looked at the amount, and they had given me $1,000. And it just blew me away. And I was in the back seat almost in tears, and then I told Pastor and Julie about it. But it was so neat for me to see that literally like 2 hours earlier, I had just given $10 in this offering when I only had 15 on me at the time, but I had given this $10, and then 2 hours later, I came back with, or God came back with, like 100 times, you know, what I had given, what I had sowed into the kingdom. And so it's so neat to see that we know that God will provide, and I know that, but doing my part and giving, this really showed me even more in such a tangible way that God even honors that giving and that generosity and your tithing. And it's just neat to see that and get that back, and I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited about things here, and giving I know will always be a part of my life as I just love it, and it's exciting to see those things come back. You know what, I would even challenge you to give more than you already do. I would imagine that quite a few of you give now, but continue to challenge yourself and stretch yourself in giving even more, even if it's just an offering, or if it's, you know, giving more than 10% of what you make. And that's a challenge for myself, to give more than just my tithe and continue giving on top of that, because everything that we have comes from God. So I want to challenge you to do that and just see what God does with that, because it's incredible the things that we think are impossible what God does when we give. So test it out, see what happens.